We're back with another episode of Walford Weekly Podcast where we get to review a whole half week of EastEnders.
Aren't we lucky? Aren't we lucky to review a whole half a week of EastEnders? But it's broadcast over a week. Well, I say it's broadcast in 2 days.
It's so silly because there's such a big gap between episodes and it's hard to remember what happened last week to this week, and it's all on the same day.
But luckily...
It's all very confusing.
But luckily, we are here to fill in the gap. We are the gap fillers.
Yeah, well, I can't fill the gaps myself.
We are skilled. So, this week, for instance, yesterday, if you're listening to this on the day of release, we would had our pub quiz, our second pub quiz on the YouTube channel. We're an interactive game, and we've got a brand new video coming out on Sunday, especially for Easter Sunday. Before any of this nonsense happened, we had this planned, and then it all went awry. But we're still going to release it on Easter Sunday, one of Ben's special videos.
We are. But we're here to talk about the week of EastEnders. How are you coping with the 2 a week situation? Does it confuse you? Are you fine keeping up with it?
I'm fine keeping up with it. It doesn't confuse me, and I don't think if there's any.
Do you forget major plot points between episodes?
If there's any missing gaps, I just have to listen to Walford Weekly Podcast, and I can remember. I'm plugging this week. I've had 3 weeks sat on my own. I need to talk to people. I need people to talk to. But no, I know what you're saying. Monday and Tuesday. I've said this every week. They needed to separate it out, and the logical thing would have been Tuesday and Thursday, like it used to be. But if that's their choice, I can understand why BBC have done it, because before they had the Monday and Tuesday, they didn't have Holby City and they didn't have Casualty, which is like their other soaps. No. And so they're kind of filling in the gaps that EastEnders is missing with those 2 soaps as well. So it makes some sense. I'm not defending their decision. I'm just saying that there is some logic perhaps behind it.
I mean, what we're doing, we're talking about the episodes that broadcast between the 6th and 7th of April 2020. And, there was a bit going on this week. Of course, like every week, there were some lows. Mainly Mitch.
Well, no, Mitch wasn't on his own, though, for his lows this week.
No, but like that storyline, I mean, the Mitch storyline, if you can call it storyline.
I know. We'll discuss it later, but it feels like, again, we're being forced to feel something for a character. And it's like, why are we being forced to feel this way toward a character that had been built up to this point to be something completely different?
So that was my low. But the high of the week, probably Dotty.
Yeah.
She's finally getting her charisma, uniqueness, nerve and talent together.
This is happening.
And she's showing that she is Nick Cotton's daughter, but I think she's more with it than he was. He was a bit done with his schemes, where Dotty is much more calculating.
Yeah. I mean, it was going to go one of 2 ways, wasn't it? We didn't know when Dotty was introduced what they were going to make her. They're going to make her almost a chip off her father's block, or maybe a little bit like her father, or nothing, nothing like her father, and is actually will always have the stigma of Nick on her shoulders, but is actually always kind of shake it off. But we now truly know that Dotty is her father's daughter.
But she's got a slight conscience.
She's got a slight conscience.
It just takes a while to kick in.
She's doing it for the right reasons. You have to argue that.
Well, now she is.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Originally, she wanted a business, but now she says she doesn't care about the business.
I don't think that's true, though. I think it is always going to boil down to that, because she made that bet with Vinny, didn't she? Who's going to get their business up and running first? And so there's always going to be that want for something from Ian, be it the Archers or money or something. She wants something from him.
The Vic.
Yes.
Maybe Dotty will end up in the Vic.
The vegan Vic.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
But I do wonder maybe if they had to, because obviously June Brown allegedly quit on a podcast. The BBC didn't even know that this was happening. So I'm wondering if they've had to quickly change Dotty's arc because of that. They must have had plans to use Dot, because they had the whole thing where Dotty said she was going to get revenge on her Bex, which obviously can't happen now. So I'm guessing maybe that's why she's now been plonked into the Sharon aftermath storyline.
I feel as though the story that they had always planned with Dotty and Dot is basically the story they've now got with Dotty and Ian.
No, you're blackmailing her because she's got loads of money. And
yeah, and I feel that actually perhaps this was the right decision to transfer the story over from Dot to Ian, because as much as I adore June Brown, and watching her on Classic EastEnders is just lightens up my week. She's not got the energy.
No, she's quit.
Wait, before she'd quit though,
she's out of there.
She is given up, but she did say that she didn't like the story that they had given her, and so if this was her story, perhaps she herself thought, I cannot muster up an energy to basically
to deal with
dramatically...
it.
Yeah, exactly, to dramatically deal with...
You know, she's not going to win a BAFTA for it. That's what she says. So what's the point?
Wow.
That's what she said before. She said, I'm not going to win a BAFTA by drinking tomato juice. So
didn't she get an award for her single episode when it was just her and the tape recorder?
No, she lost out on it, and that really miffed her. She said that's the one thing that's annoyed her in her whole career. Is that someone else won over her over that.
Probably Gail from Coronation Street. Gail from Coronation Street seems to get everything. It's her hair.
Apart from a haircut.
Yeah, no. Her hair possesses her. She made a deal with the devil, and she has to basically counteract it with that hair.
So anyway, going back to the actual storyline of Dotty, what has she been doing this week? Ian's got the phone and he's deleted the message.
Smashed it up, deleted it, forgetting that the message will always be in the cloud.
Well, even if you've deleted a voicemail.
Apparently, a lot of people were telling me.
Yeah, people said that on Twitter, but I delete voicemails all the time.
Oh, do you? This is an interesting.
Well, one's from my mum saying inane things.
Yeah, mum.
But can you listen to them again? I bet you can't, because remember when Shaquille died and Kamel kept listening to that voicemail and someone deleted it, she got all upset.
That's right.
She could have just re-downloaded it if she wanted to.
I don't know. Things have changed since then. 2 years have passed. The internet's faster, as I keep getting told by the government. So, I think that perhaps there is a way it's stored somewhere. It must be stored somewhere.
Well, if you can store that back, how come Sharon's not received her voicemail from Dennis to her yet? What's happened with that?
Well, no, didn't he dial the wrong person?
No, he sent one to Sharon, to his mum, saying, Ian's locked me in a crate, help me, mum.
Oh, yeah.
And they showed it sending on like a fake WhatsApp.
Oh, but it didn't send, did it? It wasn't sent.
No, it did
No, because he had no signal.
Well, how come the two other ones sent then?
Well, obviously that found a signal somewhere.
Well, that's very...
Found a mast.
How convenient.
Like the EastEnders.
But anyway, Ian's smug about that. So I'm a bit annoyed that they're writing Ian as like the smug villain, and Phil has been forgiven for all his
sins.
Yes, we'll talk about Phil later. But that's annoyed me. Like, if Sharon can forgive Phil for everything he's done, I don't think Ian really needs to worry that much.
Yeah, because they have more history as well. Although
I guess Ian's been sneaky about it, isn't he?
Ian's been sneaky about it. We said this last week. And technically, he has more blood on his hands because he was directly in contact with Dennis and was responsible for Dennis being locked in that room. While Phil was only responsible for knocking out the captain, making the ship go off course, knocking it into rocks and sinking the ship. Phil's done very little in comparison.
Yeah, it's so silly. The whole Phil police situation was ridiculous. But we're talking about the ridiculous Dotty situation at the moment. Because she's like given up on getting the archers, but she's now found like a moral compass because she said to Vinny that she hates liars last week.
Yeah. And she's told Vinny now what she knows.
I know, she told him everything. Like literally everything.
And Vinny believed her as well, straight away. Well, I suppose Vinny doesn't have the background information, does he? And so Vinny has given Dotty advice of that, don't give up. You have to keep fighting it. If you give up, then you're giving up on Dennis. And that's where her moral compass begun to align once again.
And she's also playing the fact that she has possibly both Beale brothers after her, Bobby and Peter,
and Vinny.
She's
become the ice cream sundae of the of Walford.
Yes.
Bobby is really smitten over her.
Yeah, Bobby is so sweet though. I love the actor, and he's just so sweet how he's really like shy and goofy and clumsy around her. It's really
and he's
sweet.
Lovesick as well. And Kathy's and Ian's like, what's wrong with him? And Kathy's like, there's only one thing that's wrong with him, Ian. Kathy always recognises the signs.
And because she turns up to the meal and everyone's sitting around, like Peter's there, Kathy's there, getting drunk, Sharon's there.
Kathy, can I just quickly go back to you saying Kathy getting drunk? It's like she does seem to enjoy a glass of wine in her hand a lot now.
Yeah, any occasion.
But Kathy never used to be a drinker, and now I know a lot's happened since when we first met, but she's become, and the way she drinks as well, it's almost like the actress.
She guzzles
Gillian,
it.
Which, yeah, Gillian Tailforth, she drinks it almost like she's drunk. So she's almost portraying Kathy as a bit of an alcoholic. Or she is drinking real wine. They swapped it on set and they've not told her.
It's interesting how Peter is sitting there and all he does, like since he's come back, is like sit there, look a bit moody and broody.
He started his personal training business.
He doesn't really do anything though, Peter, does he?
No.
Like they've brought him back and KX was like, we only ever bring characters back with a purpose.
That's right, Lola.
Yeah, she actually said that quote when she announced Lola, which is hilarious. But Peter literally has done nothing. So is this going to be some weird love triangle between Bobby, Peter and Dotty?
Well, it could be a love square with Vinny involved too. I've got a feeling that Dotty is planning to have a relationship with
a Bill just to get
annoying. Yeah. I mean, we did predict Peter, but I've got a feeling now because Bobby is showing an interest to her, it's going to be Bobby that she has it with, which is really devastating for poor Bobby, and also dangerous because we know Bobby. He gets quite attached to people, and if someone hurts him, he's not unknown to use a hockey stick to upset them.
I mean, what if they're doing like it just come into my mind. You know those weird throwbacks like the divorce papers with the Carters. They keep like doing throwbacks to old storylines, like Sharon Gate. What if they're doing like a Ian Wixie Cindy thing, but with Bobby, Peter, Dotty? So like she's with Bobby but gets pregnant by Peter. It's like history repeating itself, but in like a weird, and they're like original legacy characters.
They're all original characters.
Maybe they're doing something like that. I
like that, actually. I hope they are doing something like that. Because
she is Cindy-ish in a way, isn't she, Dotty? Like her manipulative ways. But maybe something like that they're doing. Because there must be a purpose for Peter.
She's quite... She doesn't mean to do things wrong, but she just seems to have a habit of doing it wrong. But yeah, no, that's a really interesting story. I mean, and as you said, it's a great throwback to a story that is fondly remembered, but also a great idea to give it a new twist by upsetting Ian at the same time, because that would really wind Ian up, knowing that not only has she hurt both of his sons, and his children are thin on the ground now. They are slowly popping their clogs one by one.
It might have worked better if Stephen was still alive and she could have done it with Stephen and Bobby, because that would have been like a parallel to Stephen's dad.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a shame. There must be a point to Peter, I hope. But all he does is sit there. He seems to have some sort of resentment towards Bobby over the table. I don't know if that's the actor's been told to portray that, or if he's just looking a bit bored and moody. I don't know.
I don't know. I think Peter has forgiven Bobby. But again, we've not really been given that exclusive, that look into their relationship. Other than when Bobby was at the hospital during the boat week.
Yeah, but everything was so rushed that week. So there's 1,000 things going on. But, Dottie's got her ways, and she said to Ian, like, oh, I am going to tell Sharon, but she's not emotionally ready yet. So that's like hanging over Ian now, basically, as a time bomb.
Yes.
When Sharon has her eyelashes on and her hair done, she's ready.
Sharon did like that Dottie had brought up Dennis as well. And she said, do you miss Dennis?
Yeah, because they had that chat when he died before, didn't they, around the table, and she said that Dennis was a pervert, and that made Sharon happy.
Yeah, so it's weird.
My boy.
that's my son.
My pervert 13.
Yeah, because again, Dottie didn't say anything very kind or generous about Dennis. She kind of said like, he was a bit annoying, wasn't he? And he wound people up, didn't he? But that's why we loved him. And Sharon was like, well, some people would say that was a bad trait, but he was my boy. So again,
me twice.
Rose-tinted glasses by Sharon of how she remembers her quite awful son.
So should we go on to the Panasars next?
If we must.
We must. The Panasar party is next week.
Oh, I cannot wait. I hope I've got an invite.
Do you have to go on the app?
Oh yeah, what app was that? I forget.
It was like Party House or something.
I thought it was meant to be, because they've used actual social media before, like Facebook and Instagram. So
they always make them up though.
Why have they made one up for this instance?
It might be real. I don't go on House Party app.
House Party is an app, isn't it? It's when you use the video.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing. He's doing an actual house party.
He again, this was filmed before the bad days.
Yeah, because he basically wants to DJ, not just do spray painting last week. He's also into DJing because it helps him relax, and he's trying to get a business before Dotty. So we went to Ruby's. I love how they write Ruby now. Like, she's written so realistic. Like, the only realistic character walking around the square. It's so funny because she just sits him down, asks for references.
Yeah.
And she doesn't take any bull. She's not fooled by anything. And
her club, which is like a really underused set now, which is such a shame because it actually looks like a well like people visit the club. It actually looks like a club people visit and go to.
You don't see it.
No, you don't see it. It's such a short snippet this week when you saw Vinny behind the record decks. God, that sounds so old. DJing, and you actually saw like a crowd of people there. And I always remember.
And the lighting looks more real. And there's atmosphere in there. Yeah.
And then she's got like neon crystals in the background, like neon rubies, just to...
Unlike the ice dungeon that Mel produced.
Yeah, the empty empty aubergine shell that was E20 nightclub.
With Billy and Karen as the bar people, bar staff.
And Kush as the doorman, where he worked one night in total.
But, you know, I like Ruby. It's nice to see some of these faces that we don't see for months, like Ruby and God bless Habiba.
I'm shocked that you're saying these things about Ruby. When Ruby was first introduced, she
was awful.
Hot on her.
Yeah, she was awful for a good year. She's only been good under Kate Oakes. So she really...
Praise indeed.
Has from the Ball and Chain, I think she was really good then, and they've written her as like a modern. She actually feels like a modern, realistic person,
not a modern
Jags
woman. She feels like a very confident, business-minded, knows what she wants out of life. Female, which is a strong female character, which you were crying out for. They needed more,
and she's not written stupidly. Like Vinny said, "Oh, well, I got references," and like if that was Karen or Habiba or anyone, they would have been
Mel
like, "Oh yeah,
Sharon.
okay."
Yeah.
But like the fact that they've written it, that she was like, oh no, I'll check them, I'll do this. It's like, oh, this is actually realistic slightly. So that was good.
And also she shot down Max, and Max has made him feel inferior as a male by her, which is also a bonus in some people's
What, this
eyes.
week did that happen?
No, just in general.
I was going to say, I can't remember seeing Max this week.
Yeah, another good week.
And also on the Panasar side, we have Jags and Habiba.
Yes.
They had a little scene, one scene outside.
At the market. It was raining.
Yeah.
It was
He's still pulling those stupid faces after every time someone says a sentence to Jags, the actor pulls the same face every time.
Down pout kind of sad face.
After every line of dialogue. It's really annoying.
He gets shot down. Again, and they're also playing Jags as a food-orientated male, where when they were talking about going to visit their uncle, which is where Vinny made his plans to organise the house party, he said, "Oh, and I can get like the food on the way in the service station," or he said something along those lines. And it was just like, for goodness sake, please stop making him this one-dimensional character.
They just need to get rid of him, because the family unit would actually be really good with Kheerat, Suki, Ash, and Vinny.
Oh, I agree. And it also he doesn't add, as you say, he doesn't add anything to it. He just chips in. He's just like he just chips in a line and then he's forgotten again.
He's like a character that's been on there for like 30 years and they don't know what to do anymore.
He's Robbie Jackson. Yeah, and he's been like there for what?
6 months.
6 months. They're trying to give him a storyline, but it's just such a...
They don't even bother showing that to us.
Yeah, I know.
Because they went for Habiba asked him for a date that he eventually understood in a cafe. I'm guessing we're not going to see that date. Thankfully, not that I'm upset by this. But
then what's the point of it? Other than just to remind us that maybe...
She does like him. Even though
does she like him, or is she stringing him along?
I don't know. She chucked him out last time and now she's asking him on dates.
Well, she chucked him out because he lied to her to make her sleep with him.
Well, not really. He just said 2-pack and then she slept with him.
No, that's true. She must have been very desperate.
No one quite knows what's going on with them. But that was the Jag storyline. And Vinny has obviously got this idea from Dotty where she says, don't give up, make your own references, just do a house party, do a DJ gig, and maybe Ruby will see how talented you are. So
it's like a living reference. So if he invites Ruby to the house party,
well, Ruby lives above them, so she'll hear it.
Yeah.
It's what he
But she might get really miffed off. She might be like, I'm trying to sleep. I've got an early morning meeting tomorrow. Can you please shut up?
Nah, Ruby parties 24/7, doesn't she?
Oh, that's
she
true.
Parties and works both ends.
She burns both the candles. She does parties and works both ends. Be careful how you portray that. She burns the candle at both ends.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So he's arranging a party. All the family are gone. They're all seem to forgotten Suki's fake cancer thing.
Vinny still hasn't. Vinny's only forgiven her to get her out of the house. So it's a very fake one.
So that's annoying me. Like, I wanted a bit more drama from that, because it was quite a big fallout, or it should have been quite a big revelation that your mum said she was dying in a few months and she's not.
Yeah, again, it's kind of just swept under the carpet now.
Yeah.
Just there's no, as you say, no fallout to it.
There's no character to any of them. They're just these empty actors walking around this grey silver set.
No, not a grey silver set. A call centre.
Yeah,
it's their call centre, and business is booming.
With 2 computers, is it? 3 computers?
3 computers, because it's Vinny, Jags, and Chantal. They had to hire one more. I mean, two wasn't enough. Even though they seemed to have long stints of time when they talked to each other during calls.
And it was also funny that they sent Vinny out to get all those coffees for them. And it's like they're working from home, so they could just
boil the kettle.
Yeah. It's like, what?
I doubt there were specialist coffees, because they were from cafes. Latte is a big deal for her.
Well, Kathy's are very good because in 1993, her tea and coffee is 10p more expensive.
That's right.
Than Mitch's.
They were better than... This is a different Mitch who had a burger ban.
And hers are very good specialist coffees in 93. So God knows what they're like now.
Well, since then, she's got a barista machine now. She's a proper... She's done the course and the training and everything.
And her own cups. But that's what Vinny's up to basically. He's organising a party because all the family are out of the house visiting some rich uncle who can invest some money into the call centre. And
it's funny, you think that he could just say to his... Unless he wants to keep his party business, inverted commas, or his DJing. I can't see DJing.
The mum probably would say no, not having a party at the house, even though it's not her house, I guess.
Yeah, but would she say no because she doesn't want the party, or would she say no because she wants to keep the family business, inverted commas? That's what I wondered about. Was Vinny keeping it secret from the family because he was worried that they would not like him moving away from the call centre, and so they want to keep it all together? I don't think
that's sweet of you to think, but I don't think any storylines run that deep with that family.
That's true.
I think it is what it is.
It is dog eat dog, unfortunately, with the Panasas at the moment, and Jags would eat all of them.
And I'll eat a bit of the other ones.
You know my feelings toward Kheerat.
I'm quite a fan of Vinny, actually, all of a sudden.
He's
suddenly my favourite.
We'll knock on the door and we'll visit. We'll get Suki. We can tell Suki to go visit the uncle.
We'll go for a Panasar party.
I'd go for a Panasar party.
Right, we're going to go on to our game now, and then we'll carry on because we've got to talk about Phil afterwards. Right, so we're here to play another round of the infamous game, Pauline's Fruit Bowl.
Yeah!
Which have Fruit Bowls survived the ages, the decades, the fires, the smashes. And we've now come in contact with it through Pauline's will.
Like an urn. It's been passed down to us.
It is. It smells of Pauline.
It really does. It reeks.
So anyone who can't remember this game, basically I have a bowl and it's full of subjects or a thing in the bowl. There's lots of bits of paper. Something's written on it. Alex then has 30 seconds to say as many of those things written on the paper. And then after that, how many correct answers he's given for part one in the second bit, then those correct answers are his lifelines to answer a question.
That's right. Explained very well.
So I'm going to pass the bowl over, and you need to pick a category from the bowl at random.
It's beginning to feel a bit light.
I know. I can't remember. Wow. There's quite a lot in there.
There's quite a few. Here we go.
Never goes off.
Wish I'd known about this when we were running out of apples. Okay, so I've got my category. 30 seconds.
Right, what is the category?
People who have worked in the cafe.
Oh dear. Okay.
That's okay.
That's right. Okay. Right, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Ali Osman. Sue Osman, Kathy Beale.
Yep, she has.
Ian Beale.
Yes, briefly.
Rod.
Yes.
Punk Mary.
Yeah, she was very bad, but she did.
she didn't know how to make a sandwich. Oh goodness, I can't remember the extra name. Tina.
Yeah.
Extra Tina.
Tina is an extra, that's correct.
Yeah.
Should have died on the boat crash.
Oh damn.
Time's up.
Oh, hang on. Can I just quickly... there's one more in the back of my mind. I need to get it out.
Shirley. Shirley, yeah. The woman in 1993.
Oh, I can't remember her name. I've not watched enough of 93 now to make her memorable.
Cinnamon, something like that.
Cinnamon bun. Oh, I know from
Pauline.
That. Oh, yeah, Pauline. Frank.
Yeah.
He did work there. He owned it mainly, but he did work. Arthur's worked there once or twice.
Cindy.
Oh, yeah, Cindy.
Lots of people worked there.
There's a real...
Lucy, probably, or Peter. Didn't they own it at one point?
Phil owned it at one point, but whether he worked there, I don't know.
That's it.
That's when he gave it to Shirley, I think.
Had lots of people working there, really.
I got quite a few there.
Yeah, you got 7. Quite a lot of attempts. So, are you ready for your question?
Go on, then.
Now, we keep referencing 1993. Sadly, we've recently seen the end of our beloved #1 favourite character of all time, Pete Bill.
Oh, I thought you meant Mandy.
No, Mandy's got a whole 8 months yet.
Oh, okay.
She's not done yet. But Pete Bill, we have seen every single scene of Pete Bill that exists.
That's true.
We've seen it all.
That's going to go on my tombstone. What? Seen every episode? No, I did, yeah.
You know, it was quite a roller coaster. Hated him.
Yeah.
Got used to him, then he left. He was like you just got used to Pete Bill. He was not good, but he was there. We enjoyed it.
It still amazes me how fondly remembered he is. Like before the classic episodes came on, and everyone said, "Oh, Pete Bill, he's such an icon." And then, like watching him, it's like, "Was he an icon? Was he?
Homophobic? What?" No, right. So I want to ask you, how many episodes did our beloved Pete Bill appear in his time on the show between 1985 and 1993.
Okay, this is actually doable.
And this is by the Walford Web, who do it all correctly.
Oh, thank you, Walford Web. We do love.
They do all their appearances correctly, unlike BBC, who just
make it up,
dilly-dally it. So if he's appeared in the background of a scene, that counts as an appearance on Walford Web.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't mean that he's had a storyline, because that rarely happened. But so you have to let me know.
Because they used to. Well, I thought appearance meant if you got a credit.
Yeah, I think that's what the BBC do it like.
Okay.
But Walford Web say if the character appeared in the episode, that's an appearance.
It's like the music charts in the 90s. There was two. There was the official and there was the Pepsi one.
Exactly.
Anyway, okay.
Right, so you ready? What's your first guess? And you have 7 guesses.
This is good. Okay, so I'm going to go on logic that there was...
What? Logic?
I work on logic here, Pete. 2 episodes a week.
Yes.
There's 52 weeks in a year, so technically there's 104. So I'm going to go for a wild guess. Using that maths, that's 5, 6, 7, 8 years he was in it. So my first guess is that he was in, this is ridiculous, 832 episodes.
That's incorrect.
Higher or lower?
Lower.
Oh, lower than that. By the way you're laughing, it's a lot lower.
No, that's just ridiculous. You think he appeared in every episode, do you?
No, I don't.
Pete.
That's what I mean. I'm setting a benchmark.
Okay, keep going.
710.
Nope. Lower.
Oh, I was hoping I could ring fence it there. Okay. Well, I might carry on my tactic. 610.
Higher.
Ooh, okay, so it's between that. How many guesses have I got? 5.
You got 4 left.
685.
Lower.
Ooh.
Did Pete ever work in the cafe? Who knows?
What for his cup of splosh? 640.
Higher.
Oh goodness! How many guesses? 2.
2 left. Don't let Pete down. He died for you.
He died for our
He left
sins.
with the love of his life.
He died off screen though. There's still a chance. 650.
Higher.
Oh, damn it. Okay, so this is a shot in the dark.
It's your last chance.
667.
Nope. Higher.
Higher than that.
It was 669.
Oh, I knew there'd be a 69 in there somewhere. It's Pete Bill.
Pete would not do anything to do with 69. Not even his fruit prices.
Kathy famously said
Dirty number.
Well, Kathy famously said that he was very one-track minded.
Placid.
Where he only had one move, and then that was it.
One party trick.
One party, yeah.
One job.
He got it out when he wanted to, but when it came to the ladies, he only had one way of doing it.
Well, there you go. You let Pete build down.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's quite
Pete.
a lot of episodes.
That's lots of episodes.
Especially when seeing as it was only 2 a week back then.
Mm.
They really strung him for all he was worth.
Hasn't Sharon's recently celebrated 10,000?
Don't think so.
Oh,
I don't know. I can't remember.
It must be more.
She celebrates. Ian's got the most, obviously, because
Yeah.
Ian. But there you go. But I'm not going to give any numbers in case I need to use them for a
that's
future
true.
game.
That's true. We need to play this game. Again.
So there you go. That was Pauline's Fruit Bowl. You let her twin brother down, and the Beales hate you.
I've left all the
The Beales and the Fowlers hate you.
No.
So there you go. That was Pauline's Fruit Bowl. Right, so we're going to talk about Mitch, Karen and Billy, the love triangle that no one asked for.
Now, this is when I said earlier on the show, why are we being forced to feel a different way toward a character that up until this point we've been told is a bit of a layabout, not wrong, and a bit of a layabout, a bit lazy, doesn't really care for anyone but himself, bit of a ladies' man, I suppose.
Bit Charlie Cottony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even my main issue with it. Like,
there's more?
There is more, because the fact that, like, suddenly Mitch wants to be with Karen seems just completely random, and it's just literally come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, they've been living together for years. Well, not years, but months and months and months. And that's been weird. But she's with Billy, but she lives with Mitch and always goes to the pub with Mitch. And now all of a sudden he's declaring his love for her because she's got Billy. Is he, like, jealous?
I don't think it's even that. I think it's because he's worried that when they move away, that his relationship with Karen, or if his relationship with Bailey, but Bailey's not going with her.
No one is. Karen's literally going with Shannon and Riley.
Oh, and Caden.
She's leaving.
Don't forget Caden, the reason for it's all
I
happening.
forgot about him. But she's leaving Bernie there just to do whatever she does.
Yeah.
I don't know where she's going to live.
Well, I suppose they'll still live in the flat with Mitch. Mitch and Bailey still lives in the flat. So they'll keep the flat, but it will be just him,
It's
Bailey.
all very bizarre.
And yeah.
And it's also empty because we know that Karen is not going to leave EastEnders.
Of course not.
So like
She's
the whole time I'm watching it just feels pointless. But even trying to work out the point of it, and like Mitch declaring his love, and it's just like, what?
It's annoying because they're deliberately. I think Honey is due to come back soon, I think.
Well, she was meant to, but obviously because of the filming, she's not been back at all yet.
Oh,
she's
okay.
gonna
So
be
they
on
haven't done any
extended.
filming with her yet. Oh,
No.
okay. So, I mean, why are they putting a spanner in the works then for the Billy and Karen relationship? Because actually, the Billy and Karen relationship works for me.
Yeah, it does. Billy goes well with a character romantically like Karen. That does. It makes actual sense.
Yeah, who supports him and doesn't belittle him. Not that Honey did, I think, purposely belittle him, but
yeah,
there's
they're
always
over.
that. But they're over. There's always going to
hope.
be that
Will they, won't they?
Tina. Well, no. There's always going to be, if their relationship ever gets back together again, there's always going to be the Tina problem, which is the fact that Billy had an affair.
Her last storyline.
Yeah, and then and I don't think that's a kind of stigma that, especially now, Honey is also just broken up with Adam because he was having numerous affairs. I don't think there's going to be good enough reason for them to get back together. I don't think she would.
Miriam said Billy's the one you should be with, honey, when she left in her taxi.
Yeah, but Miriam, what did Miriam know? Really, what did she know?
Nothing. But it's just all really weird how like they're planning to move away and like take Caden, and Mitch wants to take Bailey, but no one else. And it just all feels a bit like what's happening. I don't know if they're, because obviously the Vic is coming up for sale, and there's a lot of contenders for that. Are they getting things ready for Mitch and Karen to move into the Vic? I don't know. I don't know what the point of all this is.
So that there's a couple. Why does there need to be a couple at the Vic?
Don't necessarily need to be a couple.
I mean, I like Billy. If it's going to be Karen, Billy and Karen do it. Then there's a Mitchell technically behind.
Because they had them both working at E20 / Ruby's for apparently no reason. So maybe that's what they were like planting the seeds of.
Running a bar together.
Doing that, maybe?
I mean, Billy doesn't have a good track record of running a bar because he ordered those bottles to the wrong pub for one, a long time back. And also he refuses to do any kind of manual work like cleaning the toilets.
They've got Big Mo for that.
Do they still use the clean slater for cleaning the Vic? See, that's
nothing ever happened there because
anymore.
Leo's bad reviews ruined their business, and then we didn't hear anything again.
Well, the guy came over to get a quote.
And tried to like have sex with Kat.
Yeah, Kat was like, I'm having none of this. So yeah, again, kind of
there's a lot of
mysterious.
dropped plot points because there's not only that Jean still hasn't taken her pills.
Yeah, what the heck's
But she's
happening
on
with
it next
that?
week and she's fine. So I don't quite know what's going on with that.
Is that meant to be the end? Are we meant to think that basically Jean doesn't need her pills anymore, and we're meant to basically accept that? Because that's awful.
No,
that's a
can't
terrible
be.
message to put across to people. It's like, if you personally think you feel better, forget what the doctors tell you. Stop taking your pills.
No, that can't be.
I hope it's not.
No.
But it seems to feel that way.
It's probably just another dropped plot point.
Oh,
I don't
stop
know.
doing this.
I want to know why Lauren's got no money and Jack's giving her money.
Well, yeah,
whatever happened with that?
Yeah, that's gone into nothing, hasn't it? Because
They had a big fight on a boat.
Again, was it just to add a bit of more tension to the boat party?
Just to mention Lauren.
Yeah, just so we don't forget Lauren still exists.
And lots of strange plot points. But I find it impossible to care about Mitch, Billy, and Karen as
I care about Billy and Karen.
Yeah, but like as a love triangle or whatever they're doing,
no,
I don't care.
I just don't care about Mitch. I don't affiliate with Mitch.
No, it's
all.
really strange because the actor's decent, but I just don't like. I just hate the character.
They've done nothing to make you warm to him. He's
been on it for ages, full time as well.
Yeah,
but there's nothing really.
He was more likable when he was first introduced as this mysterious character with the child in the back of the van. There's like a child catcher.
He would work better as like Charlie Cotton. Turn up, do a bit, leave.
Yeah.
Turn up again. He'd work better as a character like that rather than full time. I think that's literally it's done nothing for anyone.
Lovable rogue almost. So he is manipulative a little bit toward Karen. So he comes when because also Mitch did appear when money was there. When Patrick had the money or no, Ted got the money. Patrick gave Ted the money when Ted was having.
That's when he stole the money.
He stole the money
and then left again.
So he is a bit, as you said, he's a bit like a Charlie Cotton type character. Then, so if they kind of stuck to that role, I would probably. Well, I liked Charlie Cotton. He was a difficult character to love.
I loved Charlie.
He was a rogue, but you loved him because of it. And he never really did anything purposely nasty. It was always he came first and everyone else came second. But sometimes he did have a heart, and he was always the better of like between Nick and Charlie for Dot. So
Mitch is just like I have no affiliation with him. He's just nothing, and it's almost like they're trying to make us root for him, but not giving us any reason or background to root for him. They just expect us to, which isn't going to happen.
Well, he just came in, didn't he? He just came into the laundrette and said, like, oh, we have this long history. What long history? Other than you basically had a child with Karen and then left her to fend for herself. That's not really a redeeming history, is it?
No, it's very odd.
Really ridiculous.
But I mean, that's that. They're just, I don't know. I can't remember what Karen... Is Karen still allegedly moving?
Yeah, she said that she wants to remain friends with Mitch.
Oh, yeah, just be friends.
Bailey should stay with Mitch, but she's still going to go away with Caden.
And Billy's worried that it will upset their relationship being long distance.
Well, he doesn't think he can have a long distance relationship. But then what's keeping Billy here that he can't go? Other than the fact that the writers are afraid of getting rid of Billy.
Yeah, because Steve McFadden gets upset.
Yeah. If you're going to try to fool us, inverted commas, by saying that Karen's leaving, then try to fool us twice and say that Billy's going with her.
Yeah.
It's really dumb that they're not making the story seem more believable by saying that Billy would go with her too. Why would Billy stay? Billy has nothing to stay for. Billy made a complaint at the bar saying to Mick, oh, you have your kids, you have this place of work. It's like, well, Billy, you have your kids.
Yeah.
You have your place of work. You don't, but nothing's keeping you in Walford. The same for Honey. Nothing's keeping Honey in Walford. So if Billy was to move, I'm sure Honey probably would have come with her and started a new life. She did it once when the modelling career was taking off for her son.
They have to get a spin-off, don't they?
Yeah.
Billy and Karen's.
Oh, that'd be great.
Bar in West London. But that's them, so we're going to move on for them because they're boring. And we're going to talk about Phil.
Yeah.
Ritchie was back.
Icon.
She is. I love it when Ritchie's back. Straight away, you just love it. Although her fringe did seem a bit too long. It's like they called her in last minute to do a scene. She didn't have time to get a haircut.
She had to do her own hair and makeup.
Because her fringe was covering her eyes. Did you not notice?
That's her seer look.
It was, actually.
She needs to dye half her hair black and the other half white.
But, let's talk about Phil and the police situation, shall we? Because that was all a bit convenient and odd.
Yeah, again.
He admitted to crashing a boat, but wouldn't admit the reason why he was on the boat. But Keanu was on the boat, but he wasn't trying to murder him.
Well, but at the moment he was about to admit what he did and why. But this is the weird thing. He went to the police station giving himself up. The police then questioned him about what he'd done.
Yeah.
Almost arguing against him, saying, well, Phil, because you're telling us the truth, we don't believe you. And then just at the moment when Phil was like, well, here's how it went down, then the interview stopped, and conveniently Sharon had then phoned the police and said that she changed her statement.
Yeah, her statement.
Which really wound up the police. And then the police got angry at Phil because they couldn't now arrest him for something he'd just openly admitted.
Also, what is this statement? Is it the statement that he plotted to kill Keanu? Is that the plate statement she changed? Or is it to do with the boat?
Well, she can't change what she saw on the boat because she wasn't on the boat.
Yeah,
this is the thing. What statement can she give? She was in hospital giving birth.
She gave a statement that he was attempting to kill Keanu, and that's what they were trying to get him on. But they could have easily got him on the fact that he literally crashed a boat worth multi-million pounds.
But that's what he went into the police station to admit, that he killed Dennis.
But didn't Ritchie say, the policeman said, we're trying to pin you on the murder of the attempted murder of Keanu? That's what Ritchie said to Ben.
Okay. So this is beginning to make some sense now.
Yeah, but why are they not looking into this boat? Surely the captain says Phil Mitchell was there with a gun, hit me.
Yeah. He could do it. He could literally describe...
Unless the captain's died. And all CCTV...
Well, we never saw the captain, did we? When they was on the dockside, we never did see the captain.
No, but there's only one body bag. Although it might be down with the Queen Vic bust, under sea somewhere.
Oh, that poor Queen Vic bust. I'm more sad about that than anything else.
But that whole police thing was just ridiculous because there's no way Phil would have done all of that, what he did on that week. And then just randomly they're like, oh no, statement's changed, you're free.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Oh, and tell your wife that if she wants to mess around the police to...
Yeah, now she's in trouble.
Don't be surprised if we come and arrest her soon. I mean, it's just...
It's like they wrote themselves into a corner for this big boat week, which was amazing, and they have no idea what to do now.
but the fallout with this boat week has just been diabolical.
It's been all over the place.
We said this before. Dennis has died in vain. Dennis died for no reason.
There's nothing more apparent to that than this week when Phil and Sharon kissed and got back together.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, that's that then.
It's like, I saw someone write online somewhere, it's like when you watch a sitcom or The Simpsons, where after the half hour episode,
it's reset.
The next episode, the family's the same again.
Yeah, nothing's
That's
happened.
What this feels like. It's like Dennis has died, and now we're back together, so the past 2 years is just no point, basically.
I mean, the build-up was never... It was, the executive producers and the writers and everything had to be... there was a changeover from when Shianu first began. So no one really knew where Shianu was going ultimately.
Yeah, but still.
But for the 2 years, the only story they've really built up over time these past 2 years, which was the Shianu story, and one that people really quite enjoyed and loved, and with quite a good crescendo at the end, and then just to have the fallout over we've had it over 6 weeks because of obviously they had to split the episodes up, but technically it would have been over 3 weeks, so even shorter amount of time. They killed an iconic legacy character for Phil and Sharon to be like,
get back together.
Yeah, oh well, we made a mistake. We both love Dennis. The end.
Yeah,
Ben's deaf, by the way.
The next nail in the coffin will be when Caden turns out to be Phil's.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, bye Mel, bye Louise, bye Keanu. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Karen's on a knife edge, really, on this whole story.
Yeah.
She's only getting involved because it's her bloodline.
It's so silly.
But they mention Caden, and Phil says, "Are you sure you want to give it? It's a big decision. I never love him as much as I love Dennis." But yeah, you're right. It'll be that dodgy DNA lab as well that just sends out DNA results to anyone who's got an email address. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the next thing I'm waiting for, and if that happens, then it's just the whole thing's being a waste of time. Completely. And the fact that they trolled us by calling her Sharon Watts on the credits. Well, why is she now back with Phil?
I didn't see it the last episode if they put it back to Mitchell.
Oh, I hope not. Maybe Sharon is playing him, but then there's nothing to play him for, so that doesn't really make sense. So I saw some people online saying, oh no, she's doing this on purpose to play him and get him. But why would she change her statement? Like, she already had him. So I do think it is real.
Well, no, that's true, because Phil was doing it for Sharon. So ultimately Phil would have, if he did get out of jail, would have been back with Sharon at some point. But maybe Sharon couldn't deal with the guilt. Well, she did say that she, they've both been through enough.
Well, that's what makes the whole Ian thing pointless to me, because it just means that the same situation can happen with Ian and Sharon. She'll just say, it wasn't your fault, it wasn't my fault, it wasn't Phil's fault, it's just what happened.
She'll be upset for a couple of weeks. Yeah, she'll be upset for a couple of weeks, and then she'll just be like, okay, well,
but they're not doing that. The writers are doing it, that we have King Phil, the hero, and Ian is now put as the villain.
Rat boy. Isn't
it, basically? And it's like, I know Ian's not the greatest guy, but I don't think he deserves that as a character either.
I agree. I think it's a bit of a shame that the Ian's ended up landing with the fact that
the guilt of this.
The guilt. Yeah, he's the guilty party.
Because Dennis was actually causing quite distress to Bobby.
Yeah.
And actually getting gangs up to his house to attack him.
Well, almost to death.
Yeah.
Bobby, Dennis, you have to remember, Dennis was responsible for putting Bobby in hospital.
And Ikra and Habiba, possibly.
And putting a community of people in trouble because of his one stupid Instagram post, which he felt, again, okay, he did that last minute. Oh, I'm really sorry for everything I've done.
Oh, that's because he was up to his waist in water.
Exactly. He was watching his own mortality.
His dying declaration.
So really, we're having all these moments where, Dotty's remembering Dennis and Sharon's really grateful for it. And it's like, well, yeah, but let's roll back a little bit and remember what Dennis has done. Let's remember that Dennis is a bit of a pig, and he really wasn't a great, nice character. And so it's difficult to really side with Dotty over Ian in some respects because of that.
Yeah, I can't even think of a way that would have made it all better, but it's just...
Well, don't kill Dennis off.
Yeah, that's the biggest...
They didn't need to kill Dennis off. It
should have been Tina.
It should have been Tina. It should have been Tina.
Going by the Carter story I'm going to talk about in a minute, it should have been Tina. But we also had the Ben part of the Phil storyline as well, because he's not told Phil that he's lost his hearing, but Sharon tells him.
Yes, as a kind of like a whoops moment. It's like, oh, you didn't know.
Sharon loves doing that.
She does.
So then we have like some nice scenes again with Ben and Phil, which are always good, aren't they?
Yeah, Steve McFadden and Max Bowden are... I tell you what, they are a treat. When they have scenes together, they are... And they
bring
work
out the best in each other.
They really do. They work so well together. I think this is their third time when they've just worked just them two together. And every time it's a really real scene between a father and son. I have to say, I think if there was an award show,
best parent and sibling relationship
should be Phil. Certainly not Sharon and Dennis or Caden, but no, Phil. I mean, just Phil and Ben's relationship is just it's just something about it. This is a story. This is where I say it all the time.
This is the interesting part.
It's an interesting part because there's been history behind it. So like Sharon and Phil last week, and to a degree this week, it was an interesting story because there's a history behind them. Ben and Phil,
unlike Karen and Mitch, for example.
Exactly. And so, Ben and Phil's the same. There's a history behind them, so it's an interesting story. And so whenever there's a Ben and Phil, relationship coming up, it's a treat for me. It's an absolute treat. And again, it was done really well.
And I noticed how they kept showing, like, before Ben came in to talk to Phil, they showed Phil through the window, and he was just sat on the kitchen table and obviously his house is empty now. So I'm hoping that they're doing like a Phil's on his own kind of storyline, like he's got no one around him. Billy's kind of not with him anymore.
Well, Billy's kind of strayed from the Mitchells a little bit, and he's becoming more of a Taylor, isn't he? Yeah, I mean, he's obviously very mouldable.
And I think that would have been, instead of getting him and Sharon back together, that would have been a better angle to Phil come back after all this, what he's done, and have no one around him. I think that would have been quite interesting for him.
No, I agree.
As a character. Because the last time when on his birthday, he was walking around Walford with all his family behind him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And Sharon was on her own in the cafe.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been nicer. And then eventually maybe Sharon and Phil could have rekindled. But I think Phil needs that more human side back to him again. I think that would have been a good way to do it. So they're kind of hinting at it, I think, with some of the lingering shots they're showing of him sort of isolated.
I mean, I think that he is right to support his son. He's right to support Ben. And
there's nothing not to support, really.
Well, Ben was worried that he would show weakness, and Mitchells don't show weakness, do they? And so
Phil's been crying all week. He's up for it. That's why he was so open for it this week.
Phil is super remorseful, isn't he? He's become like a new Phil, which will last about another day or so.
I hope not. I hope this is... Because it's so much better for Steve McFadden to give this performance.
Yeah, I hate Gangster Phil.
Yeah,
I really
and Gangster Ben.
Yeah, same. I hate the Gangster Mitchells. I really hate it. I think if they want to do if they want to do that kind of story, introduce a new character.
But it never
or
works.
Family.
Like the Moon Brothers didn't work. Vincent quickly changed. It just never worked.
But it has worked. It's worked with Johnny Allen, and when Johnny Allen was killed,
I don't know. Johnny Allen was quite hated, and so was the guy before him. Who Johnny Allen killed.
But I think he was hated in a good way. I think he was a character that people didn't like because of what his character was. So if you're going to have a kind of character like that, I mean, they've got
Dennis Rickman worked. There you go. There's one.
But Dennis Rickman wasn't really. He was never really on. He was only there because he fought for survival. He did it for survival. He didn't do it for like fame or money or the love.
They should do it to Ruby.
Do you think?
Actually, no, because I like Ruby now.
Yeah.
I don't think they should do it to anyone. To be fair, it's just silly. I hate the gangster.
The female Maguire, the sister of Patrick Maguire. Remember he had the sister?
Oh, Ray's sister. Patrick.
Sorry, Ray's sister.
Yeah, Ray's. Yeah, Aidan. It was Aidan's sister. Ray's sister.
Aidan Maguire.
Aidan's wife.
Sorry, Aidan Maguire's wife. Beg pardon.
Yeah, her. She was good.
Yeah, so maybe they could do that with the kind of Ruby character. Where did I get Patrick Maguire from?
That was his name, wasn't it? It was like
Aidan
Joseph Patrick Maguire.
That's right.
That was a long time ago, everyone. Don't need to look him up. But yeah, I mean, Phil and Ben left off kind of on good terms, thanks to Callum's little advice around the dinner table.
He's always good at advice.
He finally made his dinner, which he's been trying to make Ben for weeks, months now.
What, the pasta
That
bake?
pasta thing, yeah. They keep making it, didn't they? And something happened each time.
Oh, do they? They keep interrupting his world-famous tomato-based pasta dish.
So they finally sat down and ate that, so that was nice. And that was a nice ordinary scene between Ben and Callum, which we enjoy. And yeah, so Phil and Ben are on good terms at the moment. So everyone knows about his hearing.
He's having the operation. He'll be back to normal in 2 to 3 months. And then he'll be back to the gangster then.
We'll see. Right, so the last storyline is the Carters.
Yay.
They are officially selling up and like words slowly getting round the square thanks to Kathy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to keep a secret, don't share with Kathy, apparently.
No, in the cafe.
She's the hub, isn't she? She's the cafe. So all the market sellers go in there and, everyone pops in. So she likes a good gossip, does our Kath.
And they were dropping a few hints of who might be getting the Vic, and depends who knows, I guess, because Sharon spoke to Linda and said, my best times were here, this is where I grew up, I'd love to have this place again, and then obviously we got the Mitch possible situation where he keeps talking to Mick about it, brewing his own gin. Karen is thinking of moving, so there's that, I guess. Billy interested?
Brought up, yeah.
Don't know who else would be interested. Phil with Shirley, maybe.
Well, they had the throwaway line where Shirley and Phil, their relationship's kind of broken down a little bit because Phil's gone back to Sharon. I'm presuming that Shirley
doesn't work for him.
Work for him anymore. Yeah,
that's that then.
Yeah, again another story
back in the circle. And yeah, it's like people started knowing, but they hadn't told Shirley and Tina yet, which they wanted obviously to tell them before word got out, which was quite fun how they played that.
I really liked it actually when they found out that when people were starting to talk about it around the bar, all the extras came in for their pint, and Linda quickly made an excuse to show Shirley again, showing her kind side. Linda said, I really need your help, Shirley, and Shirley was like, are you thinking about drinking again? And Linda was like, yeah, and she was like, come on,
yeah, really kind and forgiving.
Yeah, it was really
and
nice.
Like 2 episodes ago she was horrible.
Yeah, she was like, get her out of the she's been drinking from the bottle, I marked it. And
so ridiculous.
I know. And and Tina basically amongst her own, the extras of the market, said, you're moving. You're going. I can't believe it.
I know. And then like they were worried about their reaction, but they were fine.
But they understood that family comes first, and that if it helps Linda heal, then everything's much better. Good. But I think now Mick and Linda don't seem very sure whether they want to do it. First of all, Linda had a wobble when she said, honestly, I think I'll be okay as long as I don't work. I'll do the books instead and I won't come behind the bar. And Mick was like, no, clean slate, we need to start again. Yeah. But now the reality has kicked in. I think both Mick and Linda are beginning to think, this has been our livelihood for so many years and now we're
they had a chance to go back on it, but he announced it to all the extras, so that was it, official.
Billy did. He told Billy, didn't he?
Yeah, but when Tina confronted him, he was like, yep, that is true. So it's official from the horse's mouth. But I mean, they could, like I said earlier, they could have killed Tina instead of Dennis.
Okay.
And that could have led to them thinking, let's sell the Vic because of Tina's passing. Because Tina, like even in the whole selling the Vic storyline, she's not had anything to do. She just hugged Linda and walked off. So she's just so pointless. And we could have had Dennis around still.
Yes, but then they needed to do Linda's alcoholism story for her and Mick to have the fight, for him to save her and their relationship to be rebuilt from the ground up again.
No.
so they did.
They might as well have just killed Tina.
There was a purpose for her alcoholism storyline. I think it's one of the few storylines, I would argue, that has been done quite well.
It has. Like the Carters haven't been this good in since they first arrived, basically.
No.
But I'm still excited for them to leave and for new owners, as long as it's the correct owners.
Well, this is it. Time will tell.
But I don't know who the correct owner is, to be honest.
I'm genuinely curious to know whether the new owners of the Vic scenes have been filmed yet. Because there's still time, writers of EastEnders,
to correct yourself,
to do the right thing.
Yeah, but I don't know who the right thing is, because I'd have no idea. Like, ideally, you want Sharon there, but I don't know. I don't know if Tish is going to do that. I don't know who else you could do. Like the Slaters could go there, like Mo and Kat and Stacey, but Stacey and Kat are both gone.
I wouldn't like the Slaters there. There's not enough. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think they need to bring back the son.
No, yeah, they can't bring new characters. And there's too many.
It's not a new character.
No, you know what I mean? Anyone. I mean, the cast is too full.
It's two new characters. It's not even new characters. Two characters. Lee Carter and his wife, who's pregnant, and they take over the Vic.
Yes.
And it's almost managed. It's managed.
But they're not on the show, so you can't have them.
I can, and I want them.
No.
That's who I want.
It's going to be the Panasars or the Taylors, which, you know.
I'm really surprised that they're selling up the Vic. I have to say, that's the one thing I'm surprised by. I thought they would
hire Woody Wood.
That's exactly it.
Bring him back from Blue.
I would no, don't. I would have thought that what they would have done is they would have basically have it managed, but live out of the Vic. So then they would have lived in a flat, maybe one of Jack's flats or something, with Ollie, but then have the new manager live in the Vic.
I think all the signs are pointing it to be Phil and Sharon.
But it's the Tisha Dean thing, isn't it?
I know. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
You know, that's the main.
Or they're going to do it, but she just won't be seen behind the bar very much.
I mean, having said it's the main role, arguably the Queen Vic is used a lot less nowadays than it used to be, because obviously people going out drinking is lowering and it's not so common, and also a lot of younger generation now don't see, like, all the youngins don't see like drinking as like a kind of cool thing to do. It's not like, it's not seen as a kind of like, let's go out and have a couple of drinks.
Plus no one can afford it anyway.
In more of a coffee shop. Well, yeah, and you can't afford it. No, nowadays.
Caffe's Bistro, well.
But if Cafe reopened a bistro, she'd be there.
Kicking.
Raking it in with a spag bowl.
But I do hope, whoever does get it, that I hope maybe they hire characters. Like, they don't just have family working there. Because that's something I miss as well, where people used to have a job in the Vic. Like, they could put Kush behind there, or maybe not Ruby because she's got a job, like Habiba. Like, it would make them be in the community easier if someone works behind the bar.
Yeah, they can mix in stories again.
Like, for years it's just been Tracy and the Carter, like the family.
Yeah.
So that would be nice if they end up hiring bar staff again, and some of the younger characters can work there.
And oddly, it's been the Carters working there, but a lot of the Carters also have found jobs away from the Vic as well as having a job in the Vic. So Tina works in the Vic.
Taking it all.
Well, she works in the cafe, yeah. She works in the cafe
and Prince Albert.
And the Prince Albert. Well, she's the manager of Prince Albert.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously Shirley had that little sideline with Mitchell's.
Maybe Kim will buy it. She'll turn up.
I mean, it makes sense because she is returning. See, that's...
Allegedly, but she was meant to be turning around Christmas, but didn't.
Oh, I didn't.
Well, she appeared on the TV screen, like the webcam, and that was it.
Well, maybe that was the appearance.
I don't know, it's all a bit fishy. But there you go, that was the week. All rounded up and thin.
I think we've not really talked about the story so much as our theories of what the story should have been.
Yeah, well, that's just the way it is. But
that's the way it is now. This is the world we live in. Deal with it.
So we're going to go on to all the comments and the questions and everyone's opinions on the week with I'm Not One to Gossip.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
Yes, it's the end of the show, and it's the moment where I read out your comments that you sent to us on our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook. All the details will be at the end of the show, so stay to the end to find out more. This week, we asked you a question on our Twitter, which was, what characters do you think are too iconic to be recast? Is there a line you shouldn't cross, or is anyone free for a recast? Ben, is there any characters that you want recast?
Jags. Jags will be recast. No, there is a line. I don't know. It depends. I would say like if they've been involved in like an iconic like greatest hits moment of the show, maybe don't recast them.
So Michelle's off your list then. You should never have recast Michelle.
No, they should not. No, like Zoe like falls into that category because the "You Ain't My Mother" thing.
Yeah.
But then again, it's been ages. But then at the same time, you think like the Who Killed Lucy is quite iconic, where they've recast Bobby. So does that count? But because he's a child actor.
That's true.
I don't know.
I think it's one of those things that would it benefit the show that if they weren't recast and you got the original actor, that would be a bigger impact than to bring someone who's then recast but could then portray a story better. That's I think for me that's the fine line.
Because like the Michelle thing was weird because the actress Jenna, she's a really good actress. But the writing for Michelle was just so awful. So she might as well have just been a friend of Sharon's from school rather than be Michelle.
Well, they changed Michelle, didn't they? They changed Michelle from the feisty, independent young woman but left the
to
square.
Trying to be Pauline.
Exactly, to becoming complacent and like family orientated and kind of just mumsy, yeah. And so I think that's what went wrong with them for that. The writing was wrong. So recasting a character isn't just changing someone's face, it's also changing someone's way of writing. And I think, there's that to consider too. However, lots of other people also have opinions.
Right.
Would you like to hear some of them?
Yes.
At Izzy Fields says, if the writing is believable and true to the character, then I'd have no problem with a recast. But I guess older characters like Ian, Phil, Sharon, Dot could never be recast because EastEnders stalwarts are too iconic. Hence, why Michelle failed. So something we literally just talked about.
Can you imagine if they recast Dot?
Well, I was thinking, as you were talking, imagine if they recast Sharon.
Oh no.
It'd be awful, wouldn't it?
They can't do that.
See, some characters are just that character.
It has to be they have to have not appeared for a while. Although they recast Ben after like 8 months. I don't know, it's all
But they did that for a writing reason. They did that for a story.
But it's funny, like why didn't they recast Lola but they recast Ben? Like, do you know what I mean? Like what is the reason for not recasting Lola? She was off screen longer than what Ben was. Like there's all these weird things like what is the reason they do and don't recast?
I mean, we don't know what they ever had planned for Lola. from the scheme of things, nothing. Like literally just
something went wrong, didn't it?
Something went wrong, exactly. I'm sure there was more to her return than that's actually ended up being. But they kept her. Normally when something like that happens, after the contract is terminated, that's the end of that, and they kind of get them on. At eKitchen97 on Twitter says, Ross because he's Grant and I can't imagine anyone else playing him, but then I thought that about Michelle and she was recast. So can you imagine a Grant? A lot of people want Grant back.
Then the guy got sacked who recast her. Yeah, I don't know if I want Grant back.
A lot of people want the character of Grant back, so would it be worth changing, not having Ross Kemp play him? I think the dynamic between the actors wouldn't be quite so good.
And it depends how much it upsets the actor, because I think Ross Kemp quite likes that he's Grant, but then if you want to be Grant, then you have to be prepared to act as Grant, where he's not really. So I don't know, it's weird, isn't it?
At tsmithy171 said, I'm absolutely sure Liam Butcher will be recast and brought back.
That'd be good.
It would be, actually. Liam Butcher, they need to build up Butchers. We've done the Beales. We're done with that now. We're happy with that.
What if they brought Ricky back recast?
Well, Ricky, he goes on to say, Ricky Butcher, on the other hand, is somebody that should not be recast.
Okay.
No, they shouldn't recast Ricky.
No.
Sid Owen, he's a great actor.
It's funny, though. Like, Ricky hasn't been on it for ages, but you shouldn't recast him. How come Martin was okay to be recast? Like, because that actor was been on it for 8. Like, do you know what I mean? And the fact that Sonia hasn't been recast.
Oh, yeah, but again,
like,
Sonia, come on. That actress is iconic.
They're only iconic because they haven't been recast. Like, the original Martin could be iconic.
Wait, what, the original Martin?
No, the
James Alexandru.
Yeah, him.
Yeah,
like,
he's good, actually.
That's what I mean.
I was a bit upset when James... But I like James By.
No, James By's really good.
He's great. But I really liked... the second, Alexandru as well.
So it's funny, isn't it? Thinking like, why? It's mainly females who people don't want recast. I think sounds like.
Good link, Ben, because at Albion Jake says, recasting Lauren would be silly. I can't see it being long before Jacqueline Josser is ready to return. She was asked to return and she said no. That's all I'm saying.
But I'd love them to recast Lauren. That's like my dream. But then that means Max has a purpose, so I don't want that.
On our Facebook group, Cheryl D says, we found out how hard it can be to recast. I would say any of the originals or Grant or Phil should not be recast, I think she means.
But like what? So like Neymar, she's an original. If they wanted to bring Neymar back, do they have to use the original actress? She wasn't necessarily iconic.
Do you
know what I mean? It's really weird, isn't it? There's loads of variants in it.
Vicky Tucker on our Facebook says, I know Janine Butcher has had many actresses, but since Charlie Brooks took over, she is irreplaceable. I don't think they... Okay, so let's go to your argument. Why is she irreplaceable? Charlie Brooks is Janine. It's the same as, remember I had that argument about 2 weeks ago, or it may be a YouTube video, when I said that the original Sam Mitchell, for me, isn't my Sam Mitchell, but for others, that is Sam Mitchell. So that's the right Janine. But then I suppose...
Depends when you watched it from, I guess.
But this is also, there is the argument that obviously Charlie Brooks took over Janine when she became an adult, and that's when Janine started getting interested. You know, her storyline wasn't running away from Pat and Pat falling over and grazing her knee. Her storyline was that she was manipulative and she was playing people off, and she was a womanizer. She was a manonizer, or, you know, she would do things for her own self-wealth.
Yeah, it's like Dotty. She's being recast now as an adult. A young adult, but that's why she's a new actress. So it was okay.
But then Tiff wasn't recast when she became a young adult.
Or Sonia.
Yeah. Talking about Janine returning, I also think it's going to be really tough if they brought Janine back, because she doesn't have Pat. And Pat and her relationship was always the story, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
They can't bring Janine back now because there's nothing for her.
Oh, that's a tricky thing to say. Don't want to get people upset. People want the Janine back.
I do want Janine back, but I don't think they do very well with her at the current team.
At FKA Toms on Twitter says, younger characters are okay to be recast, but if they appeared on screen after the age of about 20 to 25, then no.
Oh, how old was Martin? He must have been about 20, mustn't he?
Well, Ben's been recast after that age. Sam, Martin.
Do you think they'd ever hire the same actor, but to play a different part? Like Pam St. Clements, they said, we want you back, but you won't be playing Pat. You'll be playing like a new... What do you think would happen?
Pat's sister or something.
I don't know, something weird like that.
I don't think it would go down well.
Or like the guy who plays Steve Owen, because he said, I'd love to come back.
And there were rumours going around that he was going to come back as Steve's
different character,
twin.
yeah.
Steve's twin, his identical twin brother that
so
no one
I wonder
knew about.
how that would like go down with people. I wonder if people would accept it or not.
Again, I think it depends on how...
Like Ronnie and Roxy or something, like one of them.
Oh, you could never do that. What? So they were like quintuplets. And there was another Ronnie and Roxy.
Or one of them come back and play a new character. I don't know, it's weird, isn't it?
I mean, Karen's done it. The actress who plays Karen, she's played 3 characters.
Oh yeah, but they were just a few appearances.
Still,
it's not the same as if Karen left and then come back and play someone else. It's interesting though. I wonder if people would ever accept that, just have an actress back, like Pam, who plays Pat, because everyone wants her back. I wonder if like you'd be able to just accept that or not.
I don't think you could. I really don't. But
it's going into American soap a bit, isn't it?
Well, you say that, but like they brought back Dirty Den from the dead and Kathy from the dead, and that's jumping
but the BBC edited the Dirty Den one to make it that he didn't technically die, because they always wanted him back.
On our Instagram, JCKWLLC says, "Baby Abby is iconic, and no one else could ever do her justice." So basically, the baby will never be recast.
I haven't seen her in ages. I don't even know who she lives with.
Forgotten. She's with Max, isn't she?
Is she?
Yeah, and Rainey gets to see her from time to time. She somehow has paternity rights.
Why do they have a baby gate at the Bill house then? Is that in case she visits there as well?
Oh, no, maybe the baby gate was originally for...
Caden.
No, that would make sense. Caden really is a devil child if he's able to walk at like 1 day old.
Yeah, poor baby.
Oh, maybe.
Abby.
Maybe
I want them to bring back Lorna Fitzgerald as a different character.
Maybe Abby, the original Abby, could play baby Abby.
Yeah, we've said that before, like weeks.
They could green screen her
12.
face onto like a baby's face. This is the future now, like a toddler. It'd be great.
They should recast Lorna Fitzgerald as the new Lauren.
I'd like that. One final comment from my Instagram. Abby_.21 says, Kathy is too iconic and cannot be recast.
No
one could.
Kathy needs to stay there to the end now.
Kathy, Ian and Sharon, I'm afraid, are the 3.
And Phil.
Oh yeah, and Phil.
And Billy.
What about the Carters? Do you think they could ever recast?
They could recast Tina. She's anyone who's kind of a blank slate, like Peter still is a blank slate as a character. Like, you think of Peter, there's not one storyline that sticks out to me that I think of Peter.
Well, Peter is Lauren, isn't it? Peter and Lauren, which is why it would make sense to bring Lauren back, but in what form? I mean, they recast Peter, so you can't argue, oh, you can't change Lauren because, you know, she's too involved in the story with Peter, because they've changed Peter. So there is an argument where Lauren could be played by someone different. Let us know your comments by getting in touch with us on our Twitter at Walford Weekly. That's also our Instagram tag at Walford Weekly. You can find our Facebook group by going to Walford Weekly Podcast, searching that and clicking to join the group. You can also find our YouTube channel by also searching Walford Weekly Podcast, where we have videos every week, the Queen Vic pub quiz that you can join along with, and our podcast is on there too.
We've got a very special Easter surprise this Sunday on there.
Yes, look out for that on Easter Sunday. Hope you guys all have a nice Easter and get lots of chocolate eggs. Don't eat too many, you'll be sick. Apparently, according to the New Zealand Prime Minister, the Easter Bunny is a key worker.
And the Tooth Fairy.
Yes, so they will both be out in force, ready to give you a little kiddie winks with the chocolate so their teeth fall out. Have a great weekend.
They just want to make money.
Of course they do. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Stay home. And we'll see you again next week.